Good afternoon, one and all. Respected Dr. Rao and all the faculty members and dear students. Today I am giving opportunity to have an interactions with the students and the faculty members. And the topic assigned is the soil health and its management for better crop productions. And this topic is nowadays a very common topic, and everybody is talking about the soil health. So from these presentations, I am just trying to express about what is actually soil health and how to maintain at the present scenario. So some of the things I have tried to cover in my lecture. The first, here I want to express the what is the soil health. Soil health refers to the integration of biological and chemical and physical approaches of the soil management for long-term sustainability of the crop productivity with minimum impact on the environment. Soil health is in total. It's not only the chemical health. At Dr. Jagdish in his presentation, he has more focused on the biological health, the physical health, and the chemical health. So altogether, all these three, when we combine together, then we can say that it is a really, we can justifiedly express the meaning of the soil health. If we are saying what is healthy soil, if we are saying that some soil is healthy, then for the healthy soil, the good tilth and the soil organic matter content. In the presentation also we have seen the total organic carbon ranges from the 18 I thought 18 gram per kg, something like that, to from 8% to up to 8% they have in his presentation in the forest ecosystem. So good soil teeth and the soil organic matter is one of the important parameter for becoming healthy soils. Sufficient nutrient. Sufficient rooting depth. If the soil is having the good stock of the carbon, then it is physically it is very much friable. It's very easy to roots to penetrate downside. So definitely the mining will be more. Mining will be more. So sufficient rooting depth, good water storage capacity. This is very, very important to have a healthy soil. Because if the moisture is there in the soil, then only the microbes will survive. Both are very much correlated. If the moisture is there, then definitely microbes is there. So moisture and the organic carbon, if the two things is there in the soil system, then definitely the soil will become healthy. Low population of the plant disease. We are very less talking about the plant disease in our soil science department, although that is an important part of a soil health. I have never seen a thesis in which any student has worked on the soil pathogen, madam. But that is a part of a healthy soil. If your soil is sick, lot of wilt causing bacteria is there in your soil. How you can say your soil is healthy? Because it will cause the wilt problem in the Solanaceae family plants, in the tomato, in the chilies and the other crops also. If you visit the orchard of the guava, lot of plants start wilting. So if you are saying a soil is healthy, then the soil should be free from the soil-borne disease also. So that parameter, my suggestion, if we are increasing our spectrum of the soil science, we are hammering the microbiological part to the very depth up to the metagenomics level. So at least isolations of the bacteria, the pathogens, that is also important. Our soil is having this much amount of the pathogens, bacteria is there. That is also important. If you go for the soil quality indexing, that is also important. That part may be included. Low weed pressure. Low weed pressure is also important. Resistant of being degraded and eroded. This is very, very important because soil degradation is nowadays is a big issue. And that is only because of the crop cover. Our soils are keep barren. If the crop cover will be there, then the soil degradation problems will be addressed to a considerable extent. So crop covering is very, very important. Resilience, quick recovery from the adverse event. That is the inherent property of the soil. If you put some amount of acid in the soil system, you will see the pH drastically change. It will come down from 6 to 3. But after some time, it will again come back to 6. 4 years, 5 years, you will see the soil, again the pH will come to, and it means it is some resistant, some resilience, some resistance is there. So that is an important characteristics of a healthy soil. What are the common soil constraints? The common soil constraints are in which I have written the traffics when the soil is wet. If you go for the mechanization, the moisture condition you have to see when you go for the application of the high loaded equipments. Because wherever you operate the equipments, if the moisture is high, then the degree of the compaction will be high. So you have to work out the moisture content also. Or if you go for such type of things, they will result in the reduction in the root growth, limiting water infiltrations, ponding pressures, all these things are there. And the poor aggregation and the crusting. If soil aggregates are stable, then the crusting in our soil, in the Jharkhand soil where the alpha soil, low organic carbon range from 0.2 to 0.5 maximum. That is the level of the organic carbon, 0.2 to 0.5. And the seed and the clay percentage is hardly 12 to 13, 15% maximum. That is the maximum. Organic carbon level is so low, calcium content is poor, then definitely the aggregate stability will be poor. If the aggregate stability will be poor, then what will happen? When the rain comes, your soil is not covered. When the rain comes, whatever the aggregate, it will break down and form the crusting. And the crusting problem is very, very common. So for that, aggregate stability is very, very important. And for making the aggregate to be stable, the content of the organic carbon should go. You have to increase. For healthy soil, at least 0.8% organic carbon should you have to maintain. You have to maintain. If you are saying that my soil is healthy, then at least 0.8%, at least that should be maintained. In our one of our trial, permanent manual trial here also in Coimbatore also already 100 years passed. In our case, from 1956 permanent manual trial is going on. Already we have passed near about 60, 70 years like that. From 1956 it has started. We are putting every year compost there at the rate of the 22 ton on fresh bed basis. And the organic carbon after continuous applications is still, it's rich not beyond 1%. It's rich not beyond 1%. So it's very easy to say to build up the organic carbon level, but it is very difficult to maintain that. It requires a lot of management practices also. Lot of things. Then only you can maintain the organic carbon, because temperature is also one of the important factor. Here I am talking about the soil-borne pathogens also. In my previous slides also, I have seen that this is the brief about what are the soil health, the physical parameters, chemical parameters, and the biological parameters. These are the different parameters, the physical parameters, the bulk density, microporosity, micro available water capacity, residue porosity, penetration resistance, saturated hydro. These are some of the parameters. In the biological parameters, we can work on soil health, root health assessment. Very, very few works are going on the soil root. Plants का roots के ऊपर very few works are going on, because roots are of course very, very important. How their distribution, how much depth they are going in different type of soil, how they are behaving, how they are correlated with the organic carbon content, how they are correlated with the stable aggregates, what is the correlation in between, and how they are contributing towards the nutrient mining. These areas needs to be explored. We are knowing, theoretically we are knowing, but practically we should have information on those things. Now the soil health indicators. What are the soil health indicators? How you can say that our soil is healthy? The texture is one of the important things. Okay. Available water capacity, surface hardness, subsurface hardness. Subsurface hardness is also very, very important. In particularly in the coarse texture soil, in the high rainfall area, the clay move down and form the pan, hard pan at a depth of 1.5 feet. And you will see the roots will not penetrate, not destroy, able to penetrate that particular hard layer. And particularly in the where the iron and aluminum concentration is high, due to the eluviation process, these iron and aluminum go down and form very hard pan at the lower profile. If you go for the orchard plantation, definitely you go for the profile study. Not only the surface and surface 0 to 15 and 15 to 30 centimeter fertility status will not serve our purpose. You should go, if you have to establish any orchard, it should be a mandatory to go for the profile study of the soil. What is the characteristic of the profile? Because it will give the picture about the hardness. Then only we will go for it. Because if you go for the plantation horticulture crops in a 10 hectares or 20 hectares land, and after 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 years, when the roots go beyond that, then the roots will not penetrate that particular hard pan, then the growth will be affected. Irrespective, you are putting all the inputs, all organic and inorganic inputs, you are putting everything, but you are not getting accordingly response. And that is only due to only one factor. If at the start of the planting of the orchard, if you go for the profile study, such type of problem will never come. So these are the important things. Aggregate stability, organic matter content, soil protein, soil respiration. These soil respiration will give an idea about the biological health of the soil. Active carbon and the pathogen pressure. This pathogen pressure is important. This new thing, normally it's not appear in the thesis, in the research also, the pathogen pressure, this also needs to be monitored. Now, these are some of the equipments how we can go for the monitoring of the active carbon, soil health assessment, how you can assess every institute should have one root study lab. Root study lab, establishment of root study lab is very simple. Transparent pipe should be there of the 1 meter length. You grow the different crops and you see the transparent pipe should be there. You put the soil over there, grow the crop and just see the root pattern. How the maize root pattern, how this pea moves, how the different crops. What is the behavior of their roots? You can study. Water stable aggregates depend upon the texture, organic matters and aggregates. Available waters and routings. Availability of the water is important. If the availability of the water, in case of the sprinkler, you will find if the water is available at the surface layer, the root will not move down. If the water is available at the surface layer, then why so root will go down? If the water is available throughout the 0 to 15 centimeter or 0 to 30 centimeter, then there is chances that it will move down. Otherwise, surface, these are some of the disadvantages of the sprinkler application of the water also. The surface mining of the nutrient only happen, not subsurface mining. Factors affecting infiltration is the aggregate, crusting, sealing, compaction, surface storage capacity, plant's canopy, surface cover and march, and soil freezing. Type of soil compaction, these are some of the surface crusting and the plow layer below compaction that I am talking. Type of the compaction caused by the traffic hai, mold bolt tillage hai, heavy equipment, insufficient depth of the growth. Using Teles to affect the soil properties. Soil health management tools is the crop rotation you can adopt, growing better crops, organic chemicals amendments, inoculants, and reducing or modifying the tillage. These are some of the important things. Now, how you lessen the tillage technology. New understanding to cover the cropping options and methods for managing these cover crops. New understanding of soil organism role. New tillage tools that provide the targeted decompaction and surface residue retention. These are some of the things. Now, importance of biological process. In the biological process, residue incorporation is very, very important. Nutrient recycling, aggregate and aggregate stability, organic matter contribution as biomass. Earthworm is very, very important. Earthworm, you can say it is an indicator of the soil health also. If the soil is healthy, organic carbon level is high, residues incorporation is a regular feature, you will find the earthworm population One has to work on the earthworm population per square meter also. That is an indicator. That is an indicator of the soil health. Now the soil health assessment. These are the how you if you have to assess the soil health, then what are the parameters like the available water capacity, surface hardness, subsurface hardness, aggregate stability, organic matter, respiration, active carbon, pH, phosphorus, potassium, and the micronutrients. And we have scored for our soil. And this work I have done at Cornell University. And there I find that I have taken the sample from here in the Jharkhand. And our soil score came very less. Overall score was 25 only. So its rating was very low. These ratings was given by them, just like available water capacity rating was 22. Our value was 0.12. Surface hardness. Surface hardness rating was 1. Our value was 390. It means our surface soil is very hard. Organic carbon level is very, very poor. So that's why the overall rating, it comes very low. Management suggestion for physical and biological constraint. These are some of the short-term initiative and the long-term initiative. If the available water capacity is low, what is the long-term management practices? How you will address this thing? Reduce tillage, incorporation of the high biomass cover crop, and legumes crops. You go for the legumes crop and reduce tillage. Surface hardness is high. What is the long-term strategy? Shallow rooted cover crops, avoid excessive tillage. Subsurface hardness, avoid disc plow that create the pans and avoid tillage when subsoil is wet. This is very, very important. Otherwise, it will cause hardness. Aggregate stability is low, then reduce tillage, cover crop and fresh manure, and rotate with short crops. Organic matter low, reduce tillage, rotate with short crops and high biomass cover crop. These slides I have prepared from my permanent manual trial at Ranchi Center. Here you are seeing that imbalanced use of the fertilizers. Only N, NP, NPK, NPK, because in Jharkhand the soil is acidic in nature. To address that problem as an amendment and as an ameliorant also, we are using lime at the rate of 3 to 4 quintal per hectare in FERM, not broadcast application, because in the broadcast application the dose will be increased by 10 times. It will come 3 tons, 3 to 4 tons. So it will be very costly. Our farmers will not afford. So to safeguard the interest of the farmers, we have cut down the dose to the 1/10 and apply the line in the furrow in the line. So two option is there. Either you go with the lime plus NPK, or in LTFE trial we have one more treatment is there. That is lime. That is NPK plus FYM. NPK plus lime or NPK plus FYM is one of the treatment in long-term fertilizer experiments, and both are performing at par with each other. Either if the farmer is having the FYM with them, then he should go with the FYM along with the NPK. If the farmer is not having the FYM, then he should go for the purchasing of the lime from the market and apply NPK plus lime. This is the finding of the long-term fertilizer experiment. But in the permanent manual trial, one N treatment, NP, NPK, NPK plus lime, FYM and control. In FYM, we are putting only FYM. Only FYM in both the crops. In both the crops, in the Rabi also, in the Kharif also, at rate of near about 22 tons. Just to imagine, 20 tons to 22 tons, huge amount. Because cereal based cropping system is there. Both are the cereals. In the Rabi, we are taking the wheat. In the Kharif, we are taking the maize. So cereal based cropping system. So nitrogen requirement is very high. Nitrogen requirement is in the range of the 110 kg or 150, 120 kg like that. So that's why the FYM amount we are putting 22 tons, 44 tons per year. But still the yield what we are achieving in case of the NPK plus lime is more. Of course, As far as the quality, soil quality is concerned, soil quality parameters, we have one of my PhD students have done on the work on the soil quality parameters and the principal component analysis. He has done all those things. Of course, it is little bit high, not too much high. It is little bit high FYM, but here also the soil quality remains maintained where the lime plus NPK. If we analyze the cost, if we work out the cost of the FYM, it is very, very costly. It's very costly. The cost of the 44 ton of the FYM is very high in comparison to the inorganic fertilizers. And the yield sustainability is 60%. Whatever we are getting in the case of the lime plus NPK, we are getting only 60% of that. In case of the 100% FYM. 100% FYM as a nutrient substitution in terms of the nitrogen. And this is a slide of the permanent manual trial in which we have split the treatments, the 100% NP, 100% N and 100% NSPK. NSPK means ammonium sulfate. Earlier we are putting the nitrogen source as an ammonium sulfate in permanent manual trial. After putting to 10 to 15 years, the pH come down from 5.5 to 4.2. And then it's resulted into the reduction, drastic reduction in the yield. So if we address in the principal component analysis, in our case, the pH is very, very important factor. pH and organic carbon. They are expressed near about 70% of the variability. In the principal component analysis, they only these two parameters express the 70% of the variability. So these two parameters we have to given the top priority, in particularly in the case of the acid soil. So by putting this ammonium sulfate for continuous, earlier it was performing well because it is a source of the nitrogen as well as sulfur. But continuous application of the ammonium sulfate because it is an acid forming fertilizer. Its nature is acidic. So with a continuous application, I say soil is not such a system you can change in a one day. It will take time. And again, when you go for some better management practices, then it will again recover back to its original position, but it will not be made in a one day. It will again take time to come back to its original position. So after 13 or 14 years, we have changed that treatment with the ammonium sulfate with the urea. We replace the ammonium sulfate with the urea. Just you see the changing of the fertilizer. Just we have changed the fertilizer with the ammonium sulfate, replace it with the urea. Urea is more or less amide type of fertilizer. It is a neutral type of things. So it's not cause the acidity. It's not causing the acidity as that of ammonium sulfate. So slowly, our yield was increasing and the pH value now the pH value come to the 5.3. But it takes more than 10 years time to reach from 4.2 to 5.3. And in this ammonium sulfate, when we add lime and FYM, you just see what is the drastic change in the yield. You just see the graphs, the drastic change in the yield. When we put only one input, ammonium sulfate plus lime, the drastic change in the yield we are observing. Now I pointed out some of the soil related constraint, in particularly in the acid soils. The soil acidity is a major constraint in the major states. If you see throughout the globe, near about 52% soils are found to be the acidic. So for alkaline soil, for saline soil, one institute is there. But to address the acidity, there is no separate institute. Right now it has been created. Individual institutes are working on those institutes which are in the acid soil region, sir. They are working on the acid soils and the different aspects of the soil acidity. Soil acidity is a major constraint in many states, in which the eastern and northeastern region, this limits the soil as well as the crop productivity in the long run. Soil acidity can be ameliorated by the technology of the liming. Low cost technology, this lime technology is the low cost technology and it is a boom for the farmers. There are several constraints in the soil health and the quality, which has deleterious effect on the crop production in the eastern region. Some of these are soil erosion because organic carbon is very less, slopy land is there, bunding is not proper. The upland soil is barren. Only one crop. They are totally rainfall on the rain-fed ecosystem. They are working. Only one crop. So rest of the period, the soil remains barren. No bunding is there. So that is the erosion. Soil degradation is one of the important aspects. Maintain of the soil organic carbon, soil pollution, residue recycling. These are some of the issues. A comprehensive knowledge of the crop growing practices vis-a-vis soil health is necessary for sustaining the crop productivity. This I am showing here some of the work we have done in the Jharkhand. We have made the soil map of all the parameters, all the major nutrients, micronutrients for the entire Jharkhand state with the help of the National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning. That is a joint project. And we have collected the soil samples in 1:50,000 scale. In 1:50,000 scale, we have collected the soil sample and get it analyzed. And with the help of the National Bureau of Soil, they are the partner with us, and we have generated a map. And these maps are very, very informative for the policy maker. And after 10 years, you again go for generation of this such of map. This work will not stop. This is a continuous process. After 10 years, you go and just again you study the fertility status of the entire state and the changes in the cropping system, changes in the fertilizer consumption pattern, and go for the modeling and go for the analysis. So you will come out with a different type of information. Because this is a benchmark. Before that, no work has been done in our state. After 10 years, you can go for such type of work. And in the last 10 years, what are the changes in the cropping pattern? What are the changes in the fertilizer consumption scenario? How the farmer shifted from the different nutrients, from nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, other micronutrients, or the organic inputs, whatever it may be. So correlate all those things with the soil data, whatever you have generated, and what are the changes. It's give a good amount of information. So this is a new avenue for the work. These are the different maps we have generated for the different parameters: nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, as I told, for the micronutrients. Now here I share what are our strengths and weaknesses and opportunity. What are our strengths? Basic information on the soils, pH, organic carbon available, NPK, textures are provided by the institute also and the state soil testing laboratory. They are working on it. They are continuously testing the farmer soil samples. So that information we have, that is our strength. Okay. State has soil testing lab in each district. I suggested not to transfer the staff posted in the soil testing lab from here to the other department. You should mark who is working in the soil testing lab. They will be transferred from one soil testing lab to another soil testing lab. If they are transferred from the different department, from the soil testing lab to the seed testing department, then it will not serve our purpose. Most of the soil testing lab in the state are poorly equipped in terms of the building, technical person, instrument. Number of such labs are meager, and this needs to be increased to meet the state need. Soil test recommendations are not made for the different crops and yield target. We have generated so much of equation from the STCR for the different crops, but they are not yet utilized by our soil testing lab in the state. We are talking about the soil health, no? So the information generated out of this STCR, they should ultimately go to our soil testing lab, and they should know how to interpret these results, how to interpret these equations for the fertilizer recommendations of the farmers. Functioning of the soil testing lab is poor. There is a lack of coordination among them. In general, soil testing is not a priority for the farmers in the state due to aforesaid reason. Opportunities. What are the opportunities? Soil test database for the state is essential for sustainable crop production through balanced input use. Soil nutrient map at district and block level will help in soil health planning. These are the information. Soil health assessment must include secondary and micronutrient besides major nutrients. In most of the soil testing, you will see the NPK, pH, and organic carbon. Very few are talking about the secondary and the micronutrient. Although the secondary nutrients, if you see the uptake pattern of the sulfur, it is more or less for wild seed and pulses, it is more or less that of the phosphatic fertilizer, P uptake. Then why so we will ignore the sulfur? The sulfur is very, very important. So that should be a part of the soil testing. Soil health assessment must be done with the farmers as partner for the greater benefit. Soil health assessment will improve nutrient and water use efficiency. New concept of soil test-based nutrient use in crops such as site-specific nutrient management, STCR, integrated plant nutrient management, UTC, must be tested with the larger scale in the farmers field trial for higher profit from the input used. What are the threats? What are the threats? Generalized soil testing is not of much use. जो हम लोग देते हैं, whatever we are prescribing, that are low है, medium है, high है, that are of not much use. That should be well correlated with the STCR equation, and the farmers need specific recommendations should go to the farmers. It should be site specifics and turn to the farmer's need. Soil testing should be integrated with the water use crop and the cropping system, land holding, and economic condition of the farmers. If your farmers is poor, then you should not go for the 100% of the fertilizer recommendation. If you see the soil is having the high level of the phosphorus, because the farmers particularly in the vegetable crops, you will see the phosphorus level is very high. Available phosphorus goes up to the 400 or 500 kg per hectare. P, I am not talking about the P2O5, P level, 400 to 500 kg. Potassium more than 1000 kg. And if the results are like that, you immediately cut down the dose by 50%. That is an help for a poor farmer, because phosphatic fertilizer is a costly fertilizer, and the potassic fertilizer you are importing. So it's a good for the nation also. Without liberal support of the state governments, this will not be make much headway. Analytical method used and interpretation of the soil test determines the effectiveness of the soil test. Soil test report often do not reach to the farmers on time. Okay. Short-term initiative क्या लेंगे? Soil sample collection should be of GIS based and also land situation based. Land situation, particularly in the acid soil region, there is a lot of slopes are there. The fertility status of the upland, medium land, and lowland is quite different, entirely different. Now, under the soil health scheme, irrigated area, you have made 2 point for irrigated area and unirrigated area. The soil sample collection, the grid is they have fixed 2.5 hectare and 10 hectares like that. But in some of the places, you will find there is a vast changes in the topography in a 5 hectare area itself. In a 2 hectare area also. The upland is also there, medium land is lowland. Can the fertility, can the testing of a one sample can address all the three situations? It will not. So this needs to be addressed. This should be specific, whether it is from the upland or the medium land or the lowland. The fertility of the upland will definitely, because washing is there. So definitely the fertility will be poor over there, and gradually it will go on increasing. Secondary and micronutrient analysis in the soil testing labs needs to be included. Soil health assessment done should indicate required input use for the different yield target. All facilities for the infrastructure and equipments, personnel must be in place. The machines should be well in conditions, and the human manpower should be there. Regular training of the farmers, extension personnel, soil testing staff must be provided. Quality of the soil test needs improvement based on periodic checking of the samples and their analysis at the university lab. All KVKs, Atmas, and so must be linked under the soil health assessment program. Long-term emphasis क्या होना चाहिए? What should be the long-term emphasis? Emphasis to be laid down on efficiency of the input based on the soil test and the crop and cropping system. Soil health information must be complete. This should help in managing the problem soil erosion, water resources use, better nutrient recovery by the crops, sustaining soil organic matter level UTC. Data interpretation, data storage, monitoring and follow-up mechanism should be in place. soil nutrient mapping must be done not only at the district level, but it should be done at the block level and the panchayat level for the planning and the execution purpose. Soil health indicator in each agroclimatic zone needs to be identified. It is not yet identified. Which are the parameters you will consider as a soil health indicator for particularly this type of area, this type of the crop area? What are the soil health indicator? This is cotton growing area. This is sugarcane growing area. This is oilseed growing area. What are the indicators parameters? The soil health indicator of the each agroclimatic zone needs to be, that should be also cropping system based also. Multi-nutrient soil tests should be developed in research lab for use of the soil testing lab. Soil health information should be designed and communicated through IT-based services. The report should reach to the farmers on the same day. As it is tested, it should not take when the crop will, at the beginning of the, when he start for the sowing of the crop, at the time he sent the soil, and he received the report when we are approaching towards the cutting of the crop. So it should be the IT-based. Adoption of the soil test-based nutrient use by majority of the farmers should be the target. This will require regular interactions with all concerned and mission mode implementation. A specific issue needs to be explored more about our region. The standardization of the soil health indicator, management practices to overcome the issues of surface crusting. Termite in some of the places, termite is a big issue. If we are talking about the crop residue incorporation for maintaining soil health and all those things, but if you go for this, when you add the crop residue, then immediately termite, particularly in the acid soil region, termite issue is in a big way it will come. It will consume all the cellulose over there. So that needs to be addressed. That is very, very important. Identify farm implements for the farmers having the land holding 50 decimal or 0.5 acres. Standardizations, the time and amount of the crop residue incorporation in soil for getting better soil health. To develop rapid method of the soil analysis for the different physical, chemical, and the biological. Generate soil resource inventory data. Boron and molybdenum is deficient in acid soil. In soil health indicator, due weightage needs to be done. Calcium and magnesium deficiency and measures to overcome the same needs to be addressed. Use of beneficial fungi needs to be worked out. Control of soil-borne pathogen, especially problem of the wilt, needs to be addressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice presentation. Actually, this guest lecture has been arranged within a short notice. Yesterday morning, as I was traveling, and during that travel only, I have informed him. So, sir immediately accepted everything, and he sent a PowerPoint immediately. And from sir's presentation, we could able to understand what is the impact of soil health indicators and practical point of view, especially for the farmers, how we can serve. So soil, Sir was mentioning that soil testing has to be done for each kind of cropping system and for different kinds of agroclimatic zones and for different soil types. It was really, really nice, sir. And sincerely thank on behalf of the department and on behalf of the SPGS and the university for delivering this lecture. Very nice, sir. Thank you very much. Now
on the behalf of Department of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, TNIU, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Vinay Kumar, sir, Chief Scientist from University of Professor, Department of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, Visar Agriculture University, Ranchi, who has accepted our invitation within a short notice, and also for sharing this valuable information on the soil health and its management for better crop production, and also adding information on soil constraints, soil health indicators, soil properties, and also SWOT analysis, and also initiatives, and also sharing the strategic future plans for the soil health and its management practices. And also, I would like to thank to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am and Dean SPGS Sir for organizing these guest lecture series, and also Director NRM Sir and Director NAM Sir, Dr. Srinivas Rao Sir, and also Professor and Head Department of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, all the soil scientists, and also Dr. Kesar Sir, Kesar Sir, Professor Horticulture, and all the soil scientists, other disciplines who has joined us through online, and all PG, PhD students, scholars of Department of Soil Science and Chemistry, TNA. Thank you.